In this video, you're gonna learn 7 things I'm doing to optimize my fertility. I'm trying to get pregnant right now, and I do this for a living. I help other people get pregnant all the time, but these are the 7 things I'm seeing in the research that really move the needle for helping boost egg quality and promoting ovulation. If you're new to this channel, I'm Katie. I'm a certified functional medicine health coach and nutritionist, and it's my passion to help women with optimizing their fertility and their nutrition for pregnancy. So without further ado, let's get into the 7 things that I think are really going to help you optimize your fertility. My first tip when it comes to optimizing your fertility is major, and that is limiting your exposures to BPAs. BPAs are major hormone disruptors, and that's because they closely mimic estrogen. When chemists first discovered BPA in the early 1900s, they were super pumped because they thought we can sell this as a synthetic hormone replacement drug because it so closely mimics our own estrogen. Now it's used in so many consumer goods, and we are having hormonal chaos because it blocks our hormones doing their jobs. It can cause us not to produce enough estrogen because there's so much synthetic estrogen, and it can just really interfere with our hormones' abilities to do their jobs. So this BPA that we're being exposed to at such high levels is really problematic for fertility. We've actually seen in the research that it can disrupt egg fertilization, it can dampen egg quality, and once you get pregnant, if you were to be pregnant with a little baby boy, it can really disrupt the development of his male sex organs, which is so sad and a good reason for us to start limiting our exposures now in preparation for a healthy pregnancy. When it comes to limiting your exposure to BPAs and bisphenols, you want to think about limiting your exposure to plastics overall. Nowadays, they're replacing a lot of BPA with other forms of bisphenols that we have less research on. The research we do have isn't looking great for all bisphenols. They're all very similar chemicals. We have less research, so companies will replace BPA, which we know is very bad, with a different form of bisphenol. It's best to just avoid plastics when you can and choose safer options of food containers, coffee makers, water bottles, etc. The other way you can start to support your body's natural detoxification process and getting rid of BPA in the body is to really prioritize folate-rich foods, which we know is good for egg quality. It's also good once you're pregnant, so getting in that habit now is always a good idea, but really eating more eggs and avocado and leafy greens, grass-fed meats, those are all really rich in folate, which are going to help your body's natural detoxification process. Another major way we actually rid BPA from our body is through sweat. So making sure you're sweating a few times a week can help your body detox, and the good news is that you can detox it pretty quickly. Our bodies are pretty good at it. So once you start making those swaps, you're gonna see improvements in your BPA levels right away. It's pretty immediate, which is exciting and motivating to make changes now. My next tip is definitely not gonna apply to everyone, but it applies to me, and it's something that I wanted to be transparent and share what I'm doing to boost my fertility. And this applies to me because I love coffee way too much, and I'm trying to reduce my caffeine consumption. This is because once you're pregnant, you do not want to exceed 200 milligrams per day of caffeine. That is the set recommendation based on research, because if you exceed that, that's when risks start to increase. So we want to stay below that or not consume caffeine at all. And so in this preconception window, I'm trying to reduce my caffeine consumption so that I am set up for an easy, smooth transition into pregnancy. And I honestly don't know if I even want to rely on caffeine at all once I'm pregnant, because there's just really limited research on, is it providing a health benefit? Could it potentially not be great for the baby? We really don't know. So it's something I'm considering ditching altogether, to be honest. If you do drink caffeine, I would urge you to think through your ritual and the quality of it. Because if it's something you're consuming on a daily basis, it adds up over time, and we want to make sure it's really high quality and you're not exposing yourself daily to unnecessary toxins or fertility disruptors, if you will. So thinking through, are you using filtered water? Are the beans organic, or are they being sprayed with pesticides? What does your creamer look like? Is there inflammatory oils in that creamer? What does your coffee mug look like? Is it lined with BPA? So thinking through what your daily coffee ritual looks like and improving that if you can is going to be a really great step in the right direction. Or if you're like me and you need to start reducing your consumption, definitely I encourage you to join me. It's not fun, but it really does get easier, I promise. My next tip to optimize your fertility is to focus more on nutrient density. This means packing in more nutrients to every meal. This is going to set you up for a healthy fertility and a healthy pregnancy. For me, it's really been leaning on my cookbook and the recipes within the Hello Baby Prenatal Nutrition course, because I know those are really nutrient dense meals that I like, but you have to find what works for you. Find the meals that you can rely on to set yourself up for optimal fertility and a healthy pregnancy. From a fertility perspective, it's really gonna help because the eggs actually have 10 times more mitochondria than any other cell in the body, which is so crazy to think about, but it just means that they need that much more energy and nutrients from our diet to rely on to fuel maturation and healthy genetic programming. So we really want to make sure in this preconception window, 3 to 4 months before we start trying, that we're really fueling the eggs with the nutrients it needs from our diet. From a pregnancy perspective, we also want to set a really strong foundation, because I've noticed, and a lot of women will tell you, in that first trimester, it can be really hard to get in a lot of the nutrient-dense foods because we have food aversions or nausea. So having that optimal nutrient status going into pregnancy can be a good insurance policy when it's hard to get in the nutrient-dense foods. Our bodies are so capable and smart that they actually store nutrients for future use. So if we're going to pregnancy with optimal nutrient status, our baby can pull on those maternal stores of certain nutrients throughout our pregnancy, and it just is giving you a little bit of peace of mind on days when it's really hard to pack in all of the nutrients because you're dealing with food aversions or nausea, for example. I personally find this to be a really motivating time to lean into nutrition because I know my baby is going to reap the benefits months and months from now. So every meal I'm thinking of as an opportunity to pack in more nutrients that are going to help fuel the egg and support my baby once I get pregnant. My next tip might not be your favorite tip. It's also not my favorite tip because I love beauty, but I am minimizing my beauty routine. I'm really stripping it down to the bare essentials because whatever goes on your body, you need to think about it as it's going inside your body. So that's why if you were to put a medical patch on or a nicotine patch, it actually works because it enters the bloodstream. So anything that's going on in the body can get inside the body, and it's estimated on average women are leaving the house with 167 chemicals on their skin, which is way too much. And we do have a lot of research showing how these chemicals are disrupting our endocrine system. That's why they've been classified as endocrine disrupting chemicals. Unfortunately, the cosmetic industry is highly unregulated and they haven't even updated their policies in so many years. So it can be really problematic. They're getting away with adding so many chemicals that we know messes with fertility and reproduction. That said, there are a lot of good cleaner brands coming out, but there's still not a lot of research. We're lacking a lot of research on certain ingredients. So for me to be the safest possible, I'm just really stripping it down to the bare essentials and using cleaner, non-toxic brands when I can. So using something like a body wash, a face wash, a oil, and then maybe a tinted moisturizer like I'm wearing right now is kind of it. I am not doing nails anymore. I'm letting my hair grow out, really trying to minimize and save money, and really just embrace my inner Gwyneth Paltrow chic, right? Like, it's just one of those things that this is just a phase and it doesn't have to be forever, but this is gonna help boost my fertility. I actually did a whole webinar on leading a more non-toxic lifestyle. So if you're looking and interested in really reducing your exposure to toxins, definitely check out the webinar. I'll link it below. That really goes into detail. For now, I'll give you one tip. Look up the EWG Skin Deep database. That's a really good resource for starting to swap products over. So as soon as things run out, you can use that database to look for cleaner alternatives. My next tip to optimize your fertility is to prioritize your sleep. And that's because while we're awake, our bodies are thinking about digestion, they're focused on being productive human beings, thinking. There's a lot of things that are going on during the day that our bodies have to do. And obviously our bodies can do so many different things at the same time, but sleep is really special because it's a time that our body's focused on housekeeping work. So it's keeping us healthy. And to be fertile, we need to be the healthiest possible, because if there's low-level chronic inflammation or detoxification issues, fertility and reproduction gets put on the back burner, and our body wants to prioritize putting out these other fires. Sleeping really helps to support our body's natural detoxification processes. It's going to help with repairing and renewing damaged cells. It's going to help with cleansing the lymphatic system. It's going to help strengthen and build the immune system. It's also a time that we're making new hormones and balancing out our hormones. So you have to think about sleep as a housekeeping time to keep the vessel healthy and make sure that your body realizes it's a healthy time to reproduce. Along that same vein, my next tip is to manage your stress. And I know that's a really annoying tip because you're like, life is stressful and what am I gonna do about it? But it is worth considering if you're trying to get pregnant, because every cell in your body is constantly listening to your thoughts. And if there is a low level, simmering, bubbling stress inside your body knows. And you can't lie to yourself. Every cell is really listening. And so we want to create a safe space for your body to know that it's okay to reproduce. Our bodies are so smart and intuitive, and it will not want to reproduce if it senses that the environment is unsafe and dangerous. So making sure you're entering your rest and digest state multiple times a day is a good way to start sending signals to your body that it's okay, everything is safe, and we can reproduce in a healthy and safe environment. So this could look like meditation, it can look like journaling, it can look like walking. Figure out what works for you to really help you get out of that fight or flight and move into the rest and digest. My next tip has made the biggest difference for me personally on my lab results, and that is getting a high quality prenatal vitamin and a fish oil supplement. The prenatal vitamin I think is really important to start ahead of pregnancy. So 3 to 4 months would be ideal, because it's not only building your nutrient bank so that you can go into pregnancy with optimal nutrient status, but it's also giving the egg the vitamins it needs for healthy genetic programming. It's also going to give you those B vitamins that you need really early on in pregnancy, before you might not even know you're pregnant yet, when the neural tube is forming, which becomes the spinal cord in the baby's brain. These nutrients you really don't want to miss out on. And the problem with our current diets is even the healthiest of diets can still fall short today because of modern farming. Our food just isn't as nutrient dense as it was previously because of modern farming practices and how food is sitting on shelves longer. There's a lot of aspects that go into that, but I think having a high quality prenatal vitamin is a really good insurance policy to help fill any gaps that your diet might not be meeting. And then the fish oil I really like because it's helping to offset oxidative stress. Our bodies are constantly coming into contact with oxidative stress, which can cause chromosomal abnormalities, and having that fish oil is a really potent anti-inflammatory to put out all those little fires. So it's a good habit to get into taking now, but it's also going to be really important once you get pregnant. If you're interested in what brands I'm taking for my prenatal vitamins and my fish oil, definitely check out my free fertility guide linked below. That has all the brands I recommend. It has some special discount codes, and it's also going to have lots more fertility tips for you. So definitely check that out if you're interested in learning more. If you're ready to take the guesswork out of what to eat for a healthy pregnancy, I've got you covered. Inside the Hello Baby Prenatal Nutrition course, you will learn how to optimize your nutrition so you can support your baby's development through every trimester. Stop all the Googling and start feeling empowered with the latest prenatal nutrition science. Click the link in the description to learn more.